The I am statements in the Gospel of John are a great way for us to reflect on who Jesus is and what matters to him, and for us to prayerfully prepare for the upcoming Easter. This week we're starting with John chapter 6, where Jesus says, "I am the bread of life." There's a real temptation for us to reduce the language of this statement to solely spiritual connotations, when in fact the chapter is entirely about materiality, our flesh and blood and the earth beneath our feet. The chapter begins with this great miracle, often referred to as the feeding of the 5,000, where Jesus as host feeds the multitudes with only 5 loaves of barley bread and 2 fish. And after the miracle, after feeding all these people, the crowds gather to ask Jesus the following day who he is and why he has come. And he responds to them with this statement, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." It's a statement that tells us a lot about Jesus' mission in the world, and also the calling of those who will follow after him. And while there are lots of interesting, helpful ways for us to interpret this passage, I want to linger just for a moment on the themes of liberation that run throughout the chapter. Consider the context. In an age of empire, the colonizers' rule was not far from the mind of John, who opens the chapter by reminding us the name the colonizers had given to this lake in Galilee, also known as the Sea of Tiberias, he writes. And among those gathered there to encounter Jesus that day were some who were weak, hungry, religiously excluded, many unable to afford to participate in the Passover meal that Jesus refers to in the text. It's in this context that Jesus provides the bread that will and does fill their bodies. And after he has fed them all, he makes sure to gather up all the food, lest any be wasted, or the earth on which they gathered be left disturbed. This is the bread of life, the bread of liberation. Against a backdrop of colonial conquest, with the hungry and the excluded, in a landscape always vulnerable to human practices, the bread of life announces, hosts, and delivers liberation. It's a fleshly liberation of the earth that's firmly grounded in the here and now that John's Gospel emphasizes again and again and again. A liberation not set solely in the future or some eternity, but one that happens in our flesh and bones here this day. John is very careful to make no sharp distinction between physical hunger or spiritual hunger, as if the latter was somehow separated from our physical needs. Instead, all hunger is satisfied through the ministry of the same bread, the bread of life. In the middle of this discourse, Jesus tells the crowd that this is the work of God, that you believe in or believe into Jesus the Liberator. It's a performative act that asks us to come follow into the same work. A call to belief into this Jesus, the bread of life, the bread of liberation. And the crowd looks back to Jesus and responds, just as we're invited to today, by saying, "Sir, give us this bread always."